Is it me or I can't hear anybody?
Just like are you willing to support our veterans organizations that will help our veterans get every damn thing that they deserve because they signed on the dotted line to keep us safe? Just like are you willing to support our veterans organizations that will help our veterans get every damn thing that they deserve because they signed on the dotted line to keep us safe? Just like
look at Pete Hex's face today. That is the nightmare of, and look at that perfect expression. What man who's ever been married hasn't experienced that, hasn't had that exact same look on their face. Welcome, folks, to Real News Live. It is January 14th, 2025. 6 days, T-minus 6 days and counting until our long national nightmare ends. Welcome to Real News Live. It's a Toxically Masculine Tuesday. I'm your host, Mike Barra, Las Vegas, Nevada, joined as I always am by the usual crew, the macho men, the guys that we build this country with. Us, fuckers like us, built this fucking country. I'm going to start right now, and I'm not going to say the guy underneath me, but that guy down there, Steve Doran, Steve L. Doran, who, when I call him on the phone, I say, call Steve Doran, and it says, calling Steve the 50th Doran, because you've got an L in your name there. I think it's your Roman numeral. Steve Doran, how you doing in wherever the fuck you are, Arkansas? How you doing? And what are you drinking?
I'm doing well, and I'm drinking my usual Mountain Valley spring water, and I have a coffee chaser.
Awesome.
So I can be a little more wide awake for this show than I was at the last one. Yes.
That was kind of, we caught you with your pants down on that one, as they say.
You caught me literally sleeping. I was napping.
Yeah.
Coffee and water.
I've stayed with Steve. I've stayed with Steve a couple times, and I just got to say, I'm sorry to say, I do know that he doesn't wear pants when he sleeps. He I don't want to know. I don't want to tell you how I know that. Definitely knows that too, but I don't know it. Next to him,
he also knows that if I'm wearing pants, there is a weapon on me somewhere.
Yes, absolutely. Well, you're Steve fucking Doran, so there's always a weapon on you, buddy, and we know what that is, ladies. All right, next to Steve over there, stage left, is TV's Blake Wally, somewhere in Tennessee. Blake, we can say that now, right? How you doing? And when is the strip club open tonight? Looks like they're going to have a little food bar there before we get started.
10 o'clock Central Time. So we got a couple hours left. So I'm getting ready for that. Getting psyched. I'm going to be drinking a little Maker's Mark. Still working on that.
Yeah.
Great to be here.
All right. Great to have you here. And, of course, the man immediately to my right, the hardest working engineer on the planet, the guy who's building his own fucking house because he can, Dr. Brooks Agnew in the Carolinas. Brooks, how you doing, and how's the Carolinas doing?
It's going pretty well. Actually, the winter's not been too bad. We have a couple of pretend snows, and it's been in the 30s, mid 40s, so plenty good working weather. I'm drinking coffee tonight, and happy to be here.
All right, we're happy to have you here. Just wanted to double check with everyone. Yes. Something that Jen and I said yesterday offended YouTube. I don't know what it could have been. We were talking about the revaluation of the currencies. We were talking about political events that are coming up. And for some reason, they banned and blocked one of my 3 YouTube channels. This is exactly why I have 3 YouTube channels, but we still are up and running, I guess, on Mike Barra 3 and Mike Barra 2. So anyway,
so they banned you completely? You're gone?
No, they just took the video down. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to download it, and then I'm going to wait a couple days, and I'm going to repost the same fucking video. See what they do about that, motherfuckers. All I can say is I will not rest until the entire board of YouTube, get ready, is dangling. And let's call it dangling in the air. Yeah, Mike Barra 333 is blocked. Fuck you, YouTube. Fuck you. Okay, nice to have you guys here. Well, future Secretary of Defense. There you go, Brooks. Future Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth faced the music today. He faced the annoying nagging. I mean, what this reminds me of, you ever seen the Star Trek episode, the second one with the character Harry Mudd, the original Star Trek?
Oh, yeah.
And he finds himself on a planet, and there's all these robots. So he has all these hot girls made into robots, and they use twins and everything. And he has one robot made of his ex-wife Stella, so he can turn her on, and she starts nagging him, and then he tells her to shut up and wins the argument, and she shuts down. And at the end, what Captain Kirk does is he has 500 Stellas made, and he leaves Harry on the planet with 500 Stellas all nagging him. That's what this was like today. It was a fucking nightmare. It wasn't just the women, it was the six of the men too. It was crazy watching this. I don't know how the Democrats, and we're talking about this, I don't know how the Democrats think this is going to help them, because it was so transparently fake and bullshit. But let's just run a few clips.
Wow.
Pete Hegseth had to sit through today, and how he responded to some of it. Let's share this tab. Let's go in. This is Tim Kaine. Look at this fucking faggot. Look at this guy. This guy's gonna lecture you about being qualified. Oh God, I can't wait. Let's play this.
Completely cleared. Can you so casually cheat on a second wife and cheat on the mother of a child that had been born 2 months before, and you tell us you are completely cleared? How is that a complete clear?
Senator, her child's name is Gwendolyn Hope Hegseth, and she's a child of God, and she's 7 years old.
And she was, and you cheated on the mother of that child less than 2 months after that daughter was born, didn't you?
Those were false charges.
Well,
It was fully investigated, and I was completely cleared. And I
completely cleared. Can you so casually cheat on a second wife and cheat on the mother of a child?
Okay, this is something I gotta get with. So they go after him for cheating. First of all, as he claims, he's cleared of cheating. Secondly, guys, and I'll start with you, Blake. What has this got to do with being Secretary of the Defense? What's it got to do with that?
Yeah, exactly. They're just trying to find something that they can go after him and make good sound bites for everyone to watch. But yeah, there could be some character concerns with him. He might not be the sweet little angel we want him to be, but it's not really relevant to the job. So I guess they got their points in. They got to shame him. They can slap each other on the back, but it doesn't say anything about his, whether he can actually do the job or not. So it's just distractions. And from Tim Kaine, I mean, he's creepy and weird and a total hypocrite as well.
Yeah, unbelievable they would do this, guys. I'm going to run through a few more clips, and then we'll come back and we will. I lost my connection. This is Senator Elizabeth Warren, Pocahontas, the lying fraud, non-Indian, 1,024th Indian, going after Pete Hegseth today.
Time is short. I just need a yes or no.
I would consult with the president about what the policy should be
In
at the Defense
other
Department.
words, you're quite sure that every general who serves should not go directly into the defense industry for 10 years. But you're not willing to make that same pledge?
I'm not a general, Senator.
You'll be. Time is short. I just need a yes.
So you got Pocahontas is so fucking stupid. And then here's another guy, Senator Kevin Kramer. I'm sorry, we're just gonna go through a few of these. Let's watch this one.
Oh.
How many other patriots? How many other people of conscience? We haven't even talked about COVID.
Can't hear it.
Can't hear it, buddy.
Tens of thousands of service members
Okay,
who were
that's
kicked out
odd.
because of an
The sound
experimental
is so
vaccine.
low. I can hear it at my end. So let's try to play it through this. Okay, sound all the way up.
In President Trump's Defense Department, it will be apologized to. They will be reinstituted with pay and rank. Things like focusing on extremism, Senator, have created a climate inside our ranks that feel political when it hasn't ever been political. Those are the types of things that are going to change. And Senator Sullivan, you mentioned that study. After a whole study was held, extremism working group study, 100 extremists were identified in the ranks of 3 million. And most of those were gang related.
Okay, so that was good. I'm gonna.
This is a good one.
This is Maze Hirono, again, a fucking dingbat who doesn't belong in the U.S. Senate.
No. Multiple false anonymous reports peddled by NBC News that run directly contradictory to the dozens of men and women at Fox News Channel.
who I work with,
I'm
who
not
came
hearing
on
the
the
answer to my
record
question.
and said they've
In your
never
opening
seen
statement,
that.
Mr. Higgs said no.
Multiple false anonymous
Talking
reports
over
peddled
him.
by NBC.
Again, and they're focused on all this stuff. So all right, so they pulled out a bunch of clowns today to do this. They had all these nagging women. I guess this is their thing where they think they think that women are going to go, oh, he cheated on his wife. I don't like him and all this other crap. And it's like, Steve, let's go with you. What do you think about all this, and how do you feel about that? And then one of the main things that Hexeth was saying there was, he says, look, we're going to apologize to every serviceman that was discharged for refusing the vaccine, and we're going to give them all their back pay. I think they should get a bonus on top of that. But Steve, what do you think about that?
Well, I mean, personally, anybody who was discharged, regardless of whether they're in the United States military or the public sector, should receive all their back wages plus a penalty plus interest for being terminated for refusing to take the death poke. Secondly, as far as that individual cheating on his wife, I understand that there is, actually coming from the background that I come from, there is concern with that because you don't want a person who can be compromised by what they call a honeypot, by sending women in and using their feminine wiles to get information from you. However, it's not the same as cheating on your wife, which he claims he was cleared from. So they really overdid it on that one perspective. But the thing that irritates me more than anything are these predatory, homosexual, sex trafficking, just pieces of filth, grueling American citizens and taking, this holier than thou attitude when they're talking to people who are being confirmed or people who are testifying before Congress. It literally turns my freaking stomach.
Yeah, especially Elizabeth Warren, who blatantly lied on her paperwork to get a $400,000 a year job at a university, pretending she was an American Indian. What a complete joke. Brooks, what are your thoughts on today's hearings, and what do you think is going to happen with the Hexeth?
Oh, I think he's going to be confirmed, no doubt about that. But I'm sure you're going to play it, Senator Mullins' comments, actually turning it back on the Senate and asking the senators, how many of you have shown up drunk to vote?
Yeah,
and
that was good.
The other was, how many of you have cheated on your wives and gotten divorced? So have you been fired for that? And he could have gone on and said, how many of you have dual citizenship with a foreign country? To whom,
yeah, that would have been a zinger.
The only, and he was very clear about the only requirement in the Constitution for the Secretary of Defense is that he be a civilian.
Yeah, that's it. So, and he is a civilian. And here's the thing, too. Pete Hegseth is weird, okay? I saw him on Fox News say, I never wash my hands. And I'm like, what? Oh, yeah, well, I take a shower in the morning, but then I never wash my hands after that. I mean, seriously? You do it number one, you do it number two, you never wash your fucking hands? Really? What a fucking weirdo. First of all, guy you never shake hands with, Pete Hegseth, okay? That's weird. But he appears to have all the other qualifications necessary to be Secretary of Defense. So the game that's going on here is we're going to stop Trump's nominees. They're going to try to reject at least one, and they're going to try to talk the Rhino Republicans into going with them on that one. If Hegseth sneaks through, who's a bit of a threat to them because he's simply going to follow Donald Trump's orders for a change, if he sneaks through, who do you guys think is the other one, Brooks or Blake? Who do you think is the other one that's the most in danger? Because they would have gone after Matt Gaetz, but Gaetz took himself out of the running. Do you think Pam Bondi's going to get a hard time with these show trials, these fake congressional hearings? Blake, what do you think?
Yes, I'd have to lean towards Chelsea Gabbard. I'm sure they're going to find any reason, any excuse they can. There's not a lot to grab. I mean, certainly Pete has, he drinks with the boys. He's got a lot more dirt on him. Maybe he's had some affairs. No Angel. Tulsi, I don't think she does drink. I just saw an interview clip from Tucker Carlson explaining that. She seems pretty well-adjusted, normal. But, they're going to find some way that, of course, they hate her because she's made all the Democrats look bad as a former Democrat leaving the party. So yeah, she's definitely going to be targeted. They've got a lot, and they tried to smear her as a domestic terrorist, put her on a watch list. So it's underhanded. I just don't think they're going to have much ammunition, but nothing to stop them from trying anyway.
Well, I really hope they go hard after Robert F. Kennedy Jr. And Brooks, isn't it time to stop this nonsense? I mean, shouldn't a president? I think they should have to basically have like an impeachment vote to even have these hearings. We should have a constitutional convention. We should take this shit out of here. These are the president's cabinet appointments. The worst thing they ever did was put in the Senate gets to advise and consent on that. As I interpret advise and consent, I guess that means they have to vote on it. But it seems to me like they should just have I think we should take the Senate completely out of it. I don't think it's any of their fucking business who the president wants to put in his cabinet. And that would be a positive change for our republic.
I agree with you. I mean, Tulsi Gabbard, I think, is eminently qualified to be national security advisor. Pam Bondi's going to sail through. She already has been an attorney general. She's qualified to do the job. But Tulsi Gabbard does threaten them because that's one position where you get to find out where the bodies are buried. And that's why they went after General Flynn, because he was on the Democrat side, knew where the bodies were buried. And then he got on the Trump side and they were afraid he was going to divulge. So they sent in the FBI to entrap him and then try to get him for lying. Tulsi Gabbard's too smart for that. She is very level-headed. She can't be tricked. And the good thing about Pete Hegseth and Tulsi Gabbard is they're both killers. They have both taken large numbers of lives at their own hands, which is not what Anthony Blinken has done. All Anthony Blinken did is come from Raytheon and go straight into the Department of Defense and shovel as much money to them as he possibly could.
Yeah, he's Krennic, basically, from the Star Wars movies. Steve, any thoughts on this and the process itself? I think the process itself, just needs to be done away with. I don't see why the Senate should have any say in
in my opinion, other than a thorough background check to make sure that they're not threats against the United States. It's really none of their business who he picks and puts on his staff. It's like anything else. When they pick their staff members, they don't go to Congress or the president and ask anybody's permission to do anything. They just appoint them. So other than a thorough background check, it needs to be left alone.
Yeah, I agree with that wholeheartedly. Okay, some other stuff happened, obviously, in the last week. There was the Jimmy Carter funeral, and Mike Johnson, I got to give him a little credit, says on Inauguration Day, the flags are going to be at full staff at the U.S. Capitol, which is good for him. Jimmy Carter's dead. He's been buried. I think the flag should go back up. First of all, I don't think Jimmy Carter was a good president, and I think he's got a lot of blood on his hands, so I don't really think he was such a great guy. But moving on from that, something else happened at the Carter funeral, which is that Donald Trump and Barack Obama sat down and appeared to be pretty chummy. Now, I've seen some different lip readings of what they said, and some of them are pretty amusing, talking about, we used to call you Backdoor Barry. Didn't you know that? And I'm not quite going with that one, but I do want to show you what I think is probably the closest lip reading to what they actually said. Hang on a second. This process works. All right. Let's go through this and read, because I think this is, like I said, pretty close to what was actually said between the two of them. Let's go.
Well, Mr. President.
For a second time. Barack, very nice to see you.
Congratulations. So how you doing?
A lot better, Dad.
Yeah, I bet. Knew you'd win.
Oh, really? Oh, come on. Anyone could beat her.
She's just... I was just as appalled. You know what happened? He just didn't want to leave.
I know.
Is what happened. I did what I could to help her. She was horrendous.
I know. You know what I realized? Hillary still hates me. So much. I know. She'll never forget me. We should meet to discuss
I
that.
think so, too. We can definitely set something up. Let me know whatever works best for you.
I was going to fly back to Florida tomorrow for the golf.
Okay.
And Smollett comes in. Oh, this is great. This is great.
My favorite hymn, by the way, "Be Still My Soul."
Did you see that? She won't even look at me.
Really?
Look at her face.
I was told some of her people. Apparently, they said she fell off the wagon.
I think she actually may have. Sure. And also, she's not really built for this. That amount of pressure, if you're not built for it, will do it.
Yeah, that's part about that amount of pressure. If you're not built for it, will do it. I think that's pretty darn close to what was actually said between the two of them. But here's the question I want to throw out to the group. I'm going to start with you. Want to start with you, Stephen. Should he even be talking to these bastards? I believe Obama and the Democrats, all the people sitting around him, are definitely behind the assassination attempts on him, which we still haven't heard the reports of. We still don't know what happened back in July. Maybe you could say Trump's got a big balls for sitting right there, knowing those people around him all want to kill him. But this makes me concerned, Steve.
Not me.
That he's being chummy with people, and it's all one big club, and none of us are in it.
But it's not being chummy. It's called being an adult, and it's called being professional. First of all, if he acts like a little whiny little bitch and doesn't want to talk to him and turns his face and acts like he's intimidated by them or they've done something to him that keeps him from being able to continue to communicate and lead this country, it makes him, like I said, it just makes him look bad. So he takes a nonchalant attitude like, I really don't, I'm not intimidated by you people. I don't care what you people have done. I'm going to do my job, and I'm going to maintain an adult professional presence here. I'm not going to act like you assholes, basically.
Yeah. Blake, I think that's very close to what the exchange actually was, but should Donald Trump be playing golf with Barack Obama when Obama's going to stab him in the back? I mean, look, the last guy Barack Obama went out on a paddleboard with ended up dead at the bottom of the water. So what do you think?
That's interesting. I wasn't sure if I was going to go into that, like if that was true or if this was going to be some kind of a parody or what have you. So I'm not really sure if he actually invited him to golf, but if he did, yeah, that is kind of dangerous.
It looks like it. Yeah, it looks to me like that's what he says is golf. Yeah, it looks like
Scorpion and the Frog type of thing. You really can't trust Obama. Yeah, I agree with Steve. Just be cordial in that moment and don't give the press something to grab a hold of. Oh, look at Trump! Look what he did. He shunned Obama. He blah blah blah. So he was nice enough so they don't have anything to complain about. But I would stay away.
Trump closes multi-billion-dollar deals. He's a businessman. He knows how to conduct himself in every situation. Let's face reality. He's not some little punk that doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah. Okay. Brooks, what are your thoughts on that exchange between those two?
I agree with Steve, but it goes back to the notion: keep your enemies even closer. He knows all these people are his enemies. He knows he's had the life scared out of him, being shot at, having people die who were in the line of fire around him. So he knows the job is dangerous. He knows these people are dangerous. But like Steve is saying, he's a man, and he steps in like the alpha dog and says, basically, you missed me, without having to say that.
Yeah, that's kind of what I remember when the balloon went off when Ronald Reagan was speaking. He said, "Miss me," right in the middle of it. It's like that's pretty good. So that's pretty strong stuff. All right, the other big story, of course, in the last week was the Los Angeles fires. It is and still ongoing to a certain extent. It's been a terrible situation, obviously, and it's one of those things where there's a lot of blame to go around, but some of the scenes were really unbelievable. Let's look at some video. Pretty incredible. Okay, so we got that, and then here's another video of fires that destroyed devastated homes.
Oh my God.
That's bad. And then Adam Carolla kind of goes off on this a little bit. I think this is a good clip. Let's play this.
So the National Guard has pulled in. And the National Guard has pulled in because there have been lots of stories about lots of looting because we live in Sodom and Gomorrah times here in Los Angeles. We are so bad that after we mismanage the fires, then all the human beings that are criminals that are running around the streets who are tired of doing street takeovers and tired of pulling copper wiring out of street lights now have mobilized, and they're tired of looting the CVS and the drugstores and the Gucci purse shop and everything else. They're bored. They've now taken to looting because people are being removed from their parking lots, or I should say being removed from their neighborhoods and transported places. And so the neighborhoods are empty, and now the looters have moved in. And the fine people of Santa Monica and Malibu and the Palisades are very happy that the National Guard is now here protecting their homes and their valuables and their property and stopping arsonists who are copycat arsonists who are starting and trying to light more fires and being successful.
Okay. All right, guys, that is the situation. It turns out, we've heard a lot of stuff about whether or not, you hear all this crap. I'm a conspiracy theorist, right? Or as I put it, more of a spoiler alertist than a conspiracy theorist. The spoiler alert, guess what? These Earth fires are all set. But what we know is LA was a tinderbox. It was a complete mess. There was fires that were, the fires were just ready to start. There was no clearing out of the underbrush. There was a lot of just all kinds of warnings this was going to happen. And the LA Fire Department consists of a bunch of DEI hired lesbians who didn't know why there was no water in the fire hydrants when they went to try to use water to put out the fires, which, by the way, when you have a fire, that's the best way to put it out, is to use water. And there was no water available.
That's why you test the
Steve,
fire hydrants and you make sure that your infrastructure is intact before the emergency occurs.
Which none of them did. And, there's all kinds of blame for this. But, the main thing is, look, California is next to an ocean. If you build desalination plants all along the coast, guess what? You can irrigate the entire interior of the United States and turn everything into farmland if you want to. But they didn't want to do that because of fish. So, Steve, if I was governor of California, which unfortunately I'm not for the people of California, I would have immediately issued an order that looters are to be shot on sight by the National Guard, or any police officer or any citizen that finds a looter in their home can shoot them on sight. Am I wrong to say that? Or is looting one of the worst possible crimes you can commit next to, rape and murder?
Well, I mean, it's very difficult for me to comment on this one because there's only a few things I feel sorry for in California. One is the innocent children, innocent elderly, and the innocent animals. Everybody else who put those people in power and who continue to support those people, I don't feel sorry for them one bit, and I hope they lose everything they have and only get a $750 loan like those people in North Carolina. So I have a real problem with a place that basically says they don't want God in California. Good. You don't want him there. You get what you get. But on the other side of that coin, it's like for people who are innocent, I feel that the rank and file individual should be able to blow them in half on sight should they enter their property or try to steal their things. As far as the government doing it, I'm going to say no.
Okay, so it's also interesting, Blake, that Donald Trump actually, when he went on Joe Rogan about a month ago for the election, warned about exactly this thing, and so they don't have the water. I'll look for the clip. It's about 2 minutes, but and people are saying, "Oh yeah, they're trying to blame." There were 100-mile-an-hour winds, and the fire spread like mad, and even if they had the water, they wouldn't have been able to put the fires out. Well, that's not necessarily true. They probably would have been able to contain them a lot better, and a lot more property would be saved. But you know, where's the blame for this really?
It's definitely with the LA and California government. There's no doubt. It's Karen Bass and it's Gavin Newsom. They should have had all the warning signs were there. Everyone knows California has a problem with wildfires. They should have seen this coming. The insurance company, State Farm, certainly knew the dangers and were like, well, we can't do this anymore. And you're right. Trump outlined everything on the Joe Rogan show. He knows more about it than it seems Gavin Newsom knows. So, I mean, they've cut the budget. They gave a bunch of their equipment over to Ukraine. Can't read some of my notes here, but yeah, no, they got a looting problem. At least that's like maybe the one thing that they're doing right. So if there are looters, bring in the National Guard, and if people are showing up and you don't have that address, I don't know if you could be shot, but you should certainly be arrested. And if you're not supposed to be there, then maybe you're going to be doing some jail time. That is disgusting. Sometimes you do see humanity at its worst during these times. These opportunists look for these things. So no mercy for them. But what a tragedy all around.
I think most of it. Yeah, and I think most of us saw, we saw James Woods do an interview with CNN where he thought his house had burned down. Turns out he gets there and his house was spared. But I think this is hilarious. Mark Hamill's house burned down. Brooks, any thought about these fires? I mean, this was something everybody was saying for years was going to happen. The Santa Ana winds are a annual thing in LA. They happen every year. There's wildfires every year. There was zero preparation. And shouldn't all of these people, the mayor and the heads of the fire department, shouldn't they all be fired immediately, recalled, fired, whatever it takes to get them?
Oh, these are all great questions. I mean, I grew up in this area. I am an Encino man. I was born in Encino. I grew up in Northridge, Simi Valley. I went to junior high school in Santa Monica. I graduated in Pasadena. And when I see these homes and I see these landmarks, it's my home. It's where I grew up. I rode my bicycle all over these areas. Now, a lot of people think Southern California doesn't have any seasons. They do. There are 4 of them. There is rainy season, fog season, fire season, and earthquake season. Okay, we have them. That's what Southern California runs on.
June gloom.
Yeah, exactly. That. And the Santa Ana winds show up as a very hot, dry desert wind. It's actually called the Devil's Wind. And it blows in from the desert. It dries everything out, and they don't let you even drop a cigarette butt during this time because it's a big tinderbox. So the big question is, at what point do you leave malfeasance and go to mismanagement or go to mismanagement? Well, we passed.
Well, what about willful destruction? What about, there are people saying that, look, they just wanted to burn all this stuff down so they can buy the property at pennies on the dollar.
Christopher Wray warned us that there were 20 cities in which there were sleeper cells who were going to do asymmetric warfare against those cities. LA is one of those cities. And most of these fires were set intentionally, taking advantage of the wind and letting it take its course. Now, 9 arsonists have been arrested. I think there's somewhere around 100 of them. 40 looters have been arrested. I think there's probably around 4,000 of them. They're organized. They're funded. They're in place by Democrats who are funneling money to them to support them in this region. So this is where it crosses into malfeasance. The Department of Water and Power woman who runs that department is the highest paid government official in LA. She makes north of $750,000 a year plus expenses. And she let this reservoir run dry 9 months ago. It was supposed to be refilled. It could have been refilled from just rainwater. Forget about snow melt. And they refused to do it. That reservoir, that 117 million gallon reservoir, is what feeds the fire hydrants. When it's dry, you have no way to fight a fire.
Yep. It's pretty wild stuff. I'm going to go with, I'm going to show you, this is what President Trump said actually 2 months ago on the Joe Rogan show about this situation. So once again, Trump is ahead.
They said, we have no water. I said, do you have a drought? No, we don't have a drought. I said, why don't you have no water? Because the water isn't allowed to flow down. It's got a natural flow from Canada all the way up north. Water, more water than they could ever use. And in order to protect a tiny little fish, the water up north gets routed into the Pacific Ocean. Millions and millions of gallons of water gets poured. I could have water for all of that land, water for your forests. You know, your forests are dry as a bone.
Yeah.
Okay?
Dangerous.
That water could be routed. You know, you could have everything. Oh, not only dangerous, billions of dollars a year they spend on forest fires. And, you know, there's a case with the environment. They're not allowed to rake their forests because you're not allowed to touch it. And all they have to do is clean their forest, meaning rake it up, get rid of the leaves, get rid of, leaves that are sitting there for 5 years. And
we'll certainly get rid of the dead fall.
And get rid of the trees that are fallen.
Yeah.
That, you know, are like...
Okay, so there's also another very, very bizarre video that I've seen that I wanted to ask you guys about. We're going to switch over to that. Take a look at this video here on the left. This is a little bit weird. This is a scene from the LA fires. See that thing? Let's play it again. This is not a really very good copy. But that's a live TV shot, guys. Yep. That's a live TV shot. Now, I have heard some people try to say to me, okay, well, what I think this is like a propane tank. The back end of it ruptures and it shoots off like a rocket, but it sort of curves along the surface there. Any thoughts, Brooks, Blake, Steve? Any thoughts on what the heck that thing is?
That's artificial. That is artificial. It's steered, and I believe it's part of the sleeper cell technology. What they're trying to do is destroy Los Angeles. Now, the interesting thing is when you take the high-speed rail map and you take the fire map and overlay them, they match perfectly. And anybody with half a brain and one eye is going to go, what the hell is going on here?
Okay, so which maps overlay perfectly? The
high-speed rail map that they were never able to complete because they couldn't acquire the properties. They were all owned by the same people for 3, 4, 5 generations, and they're not selling. So what do? Cancel their fire insurance and burn them out.
By the way, I'm going to make some hydrogen water here for...
yes, I have one of those too.
Yeah, I just got this for Christmas. So. All right. Cool. All right. I'll hold it up here. Yeah, it looks to me, it could be an incendiary rocket is what it looks like to me. A rocket with an incendiary warhead, which starts a fire again. Looks like somebody shot something off the hill. Blake, any thoughts on what that is? Or Steve, anybody want to say anything?
Negative. That was not a rocket.
Nope.
That was not a rocket.
What do you think it was? Any thoughts? No?
Any theories.
It definitely was not. It wasn't a military rocket.
It's going about 150 miles an hour, so it's probably not a drone either.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we don't know what it is, but it was awfully weird. Okay, in other news, I don't know what we're going to do about the LA fires, but in other news, Mel Gibson went on Joe Rogan this week, and he had some really interesting things to say, Brooks, about one of your favorite subjects. Let's listen into the guy we all thought was crazy 15 years ago, Mel Gibson, when he started talking about pedophiles in Hollywood. Let's go with Mel Gibson.
I have 3 friends. All 3 of them had stage 4 cancer. All 3 of them don't have cancer right now at all. And they had some serious stuff going on.
And what did they take?
Jesus. They took some, what you've heard they've taken.
Ivermectin.
Fenbendazole.
Fenbendazole, yeah. I'm hearing that a lot.
They drank hydrochloride something or other.
There's studies on that now where people have proven that
people drinking methylene blue and stuff like that.
Yeah, methylene blue, which was a fabric dye.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a textile dye. And now they find out it has profound effects on your mitochondria.
Yep.
Yeah.
This stuff works, man.
There's a lot of stuff that does work, which is very strange because, again, it's profit.
Okay, so I thought that was a fascinating exchange. I've never heard of whatever,
Methylene blue.
methylene blue. I believe they were talking about chlorine dioxide for the other thing he was talking about, which is something a lot of people swear by. I tried it for a week or so. I don't know that it did anything for me. It just tasted like bleach, but it wasn't.
What, the blue stuff?
No, the chlorine dioxide. So he's talking about they had a combination of ivermectin, fenbendazole, chlorine dioxide, and yeah, one of my YouTube channels got hit yesterday, and we had a show taken down a couple weeks ago, a month ago, with Robert F. Kennedy Jr. because of something he said. But anyway, fuck you guys. So they'll probably take it down for us talking about this. But Brooks, what do you have to say about those kind of testimonials? They seem to be happening more and more and more. And then I'm on Twitter, and after this came out, I've seen these doctors sitting there. Well, I treat my patients with ivermectin once in a while when they have parasites, but I never use it for treating cancer because it doesn't do anything for cancer. And I'm like, I just linked them to the studies that you've got posted, Brooks. I'm like, really, seriously? Because there's about millions of doctors all over the world that disagree with you. But what do you think?
All the information I have is anecdotal. We have about 57,000 people that have bought ivermectin and shared it from me. We don't make any money on it. We sell it at cost. I try to get in as many hands as I possibly can. Is that enough? No, it isn't. But I have lots and lots of people that write me and say, I have cancer, or I'm treating my husband for prostate cancer, and he's taking ivermectin and fenbendazole, and not only is his PSA number going down, his prostate cancer is going away, my breast cancer is going away, my cervical cancer, my skin cancer. It's phenomenal. And I have lots and lots and lots of testimonials, and I'm just going to keep going. I'm going to keep going till they kill me. And if you want to do that, come and get me, because I guarantee I'll take out as many of you as I can.
All right, I'm going to put the link to Brooks's reports on ivermectin.
Now we've added some things to that page. If you scroll down just a little bit, you'll see a link to a National Institute of Health study. That's not mine. It's theirs. It takes you directly to their website. We also offer the certificate of analysis. We've had a lot of fake ivermectin sources out there. Ours is genuine. Billions of people have taken these tablets, and they take them every day all over the world. This is the real stuff. Full strength, 12 milligram.
Yeah. And, people talk about the dosage. What do we take for the dosage? Well, there are different theories on that. And all I can say is find a good protocol that's worked for somebody else and try it and keep trying it. So, Brooks, anything else you want to say about it? Or Steve, Steve, you've had your own struggles with the big C.
Right.
What do you think? What do you think about these kinds of alternative solutions? And would you have tried them if you didn't cure yours your own way?
Well, I mean, I dealt with mine nutritionally. So my cancer, basically, the cancer portion went into remission based on starving it out. I'm for anything that cures or eliminates cancer in the body. As far as ivermectin, the only situation that I've personally been involved with this, and this is going to sound funny as heck, but is where an individual's pet monkey actually got cancer, was eat up with cancer. They said, oh, there's nothing they can do. And so they bought human, or the ivermectin like Brooks sells or provides a report for, and gave it to the monkey, and it was completely cancer-free in a matter of about 6 months. Mm-hmm. So we do know that it attacks cancer cells, and we know that it eliminates it and whatnot. And, the reality is with cancer, it's all about dollars and cents. It's a multi-bazillion dollar a year industry. I mean, you look at, these different hospitals around the country. I mean, they take up, 15, 20 square blocks in the middle of a downtown area, and they're continuing to build. It's all about the money. And in my particular case, the alternative for me, when I went in, they said, oh, we'll take, no problem. This is no big deal. We're going to remove the tumor. Everything will be fine. Everything's great. So I'm thinking, oh, okay, no big deal. It's like popping a pimple. I'll go in, I'll get out, I'll be done. Then they said, but There's always a but, right?
Yeah.
So then they said, well, it's not that simple. They said, we will be removing your sacrum and the bottom of your spine. You will leave here a paraplegic. We will need to equip you with a colostomy bag, a urine bag, and you will need assistance, both getting up, sitting down, getting into bed, out of bed. So there's a little more to it. But hey, we can schedule for surgery next week. And I won't tell you what I said. Wasn't very polite. But I said I would just as soon die, and I'm just going to deal with this on my own. That was the long and the short of it. And I was able to contain the cancer very, I don't want to say easily, because old habits are hard to break, right? It's,
right.
And it's a process. I knew about the ivermectin at that time, but I wasn't well schooled in it. So I didn't deal with it. Since that time, I will tell you that I take one every single day as a preventative, I guess, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
So, there's lots of things that can be done. You don't have to go under the knife. The thing with cancer is they want to make you panic so that you do whatever they tell you to do, number one. They want you to get into the system because it's multi-millions of dollars into their pocket. And the worst thing you can do if somebody tells you you have cancer is panic and immediately do what they say you're going to do. And there have been several people in this last year, and I've talked to Mike privately about it, that I personally know that have died not because of cancer, but because of the cancer treatment they were receiving.
Yeah.
And, and I don't want to hurt their family, so I'm not going to say anything. But I mean, I would talk to them and I'm like, what are you doing? I'm like, you're killing yourself with the treatment.
Yeah. I knew a guy I worked with at Boeing way back in the early 80s, Bill, I forget Bill's last name. And he got cancer and he went on medical leave for a while and he came back and he looked like shit, And one day I came into work and he just wasn't there. He had gotten through the chemotherapy treatment. And I where's Bill? And I said, well, he died this weekend. I said, well, what happened? And they said, well, he was driving his car and a bee flew in the window and stung him on the forehead and he died pretty much instantly because his immune system was so destroyed.
Right. Well, the one guy I knew, he literally had one cancerous tumor. They removed it and they said, we want to give you chemo and radiation as a preventative. We want to make sure all of the cancer is out of your system, even though he was clear of cancer, completely clear. Mm-hmm. They removed the tumor. After they started giving him radiation, his whole body, every organ underneath his flesh, everywhere, was infested with tumors within a matter of months.
Right. From the radiation.
Right.
Exactly. Well, Steve, I would like to see you go through a protocol of Fenben and ivermectin, because cancer being in remission is not the same thing as cancer being cured, and maybe we can cure it completely.
Well, we don't, again, mine could be completely gone. I don't know that. And I'm not going to, this is my thing. As long as I can live my life and live it, to the best of my ability, I'm not one of these guys that's going to run down to the doctor every 6 months and go, do I got it again? Do I got it again? Do I got it again? I know my body. I know how I feel. I know where the pain comes from and how it functions. So I don't need to do that.
Right.
Well, those of us that are cancer free, I had stage 4 melanoma, which is fatal, 11 years ago. 11 years ago, and I'm totally cancer free. Have been for years and years and years and years, and I'm a pretty healthy guy.
Yeah.
And I'm going to live probably another 50, 60 years.
Yep.
I'm in that good a shape. And it is largely because of fenbendazole and ivermectin.
But I can also tell you that when I go down to get like my yearly checkups and all that kind of stuff, my blood tests are complete. I don't take any prescription medication whatsoever. I'm perfectly healthy. My everything is perfectly normal with me. So my PSA's normal. My testosterone's through the roof. But other than that, everything is perfectly normal. So why would I go in and freak out? And, and the other thing is, I want to say this to people because it's huge, is attitude, right? If you've got an attitude that you're going to die or you've got this, you have no hope, you may as well sign off, because that's the end of it. You have to be mentally tough enough to say, look, I'm at peace with this. I'm going to deal with it, and I'm going to move ahead, and I'm not going to let anybody scare me.
Yeah.
Except Mike Farrow.
Guaranteed this episode gets taken down for medical misinformation by fucktard tube. And also, I want to take credit for Steve having such high testosterone, because I'm the one who told him, if you stun the twins every day for 10 or 15 minutes, your testosterone levels shoot through the roof. So then ever since I told him that, Steve said, I just got up. It's 9 o'clock in the morning. You know what I'm doing now? And I said, let me guess. And he said, sitting naked in the backyard, getting the sun on my balls. So that's how masculine.
Well, actually, I mean, there's, people really take for granted very basic things like, taking a walk in the woods, going outside, smelling fresh air. The best thing you could do for yourself, swear to God, is go outside, sit on your porch, breathe fresh air, take a walk down a path where there's a wooded area, and just relax.
And
that will solve 99% of your problems.
The boys for 10 minutes a day, preferably in the morning before the sun gets too intense, because you don't want to get them sunburned. But that'll do it. That'll do it. That'll make sure you have thick, solid, firm erections. What we all need. Blake, speaking of erections, Sydney Sweeney, they say not all heroes wear capes. Sydney Sweeney has announced that she will not stop doing nude scenes in movies, that she intends to continue to do this until nobody wants to look at her anymore. And all I can say is good for you, Sydney. We love it. And this is another reason I got to get rich, so I can finance a movie, put her in it, and then direct a scene where, she doesn't have any clothes on. So that's my main goal in life. Congratulations to Sydney Sweeney on that. Not all heroes wear capes. Okay, there's one other story I want to get to before we leave here, and I'm going to throw this one at you, Blake. We now have, I'm just going to say it. We have fish that can drive cars. Here we go.
Wow.
This is a goldfish, hecklefish. He's got his own car. He figured out how to steer his car by which side of the tank he's on. Turns it in a certain direction, turns it left and right. The first thing he figured out how to do was how to take his cart to a place in the laboratory where they had fish food. They could feed him treats. So this is pretty amazing. Guys, I just got to know, this is what they do. The camera can see where to go based on what the fish wants. We have now, he doesn't have a driver's license, but we now have, this has incredible possibilities for hecklefish, I think. And yeah, here's more.
Well, I mean, I really think that goes hand in hand with the chicken experiments back in World War II, where they used to use them to bring bombs online and hit specific targets. That's what it reminds me of.
Pigeons, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So, Blake, what are your thoughts on the future? I mean, I used to joke about how, we got to do a thing, for the Y-Files where we take hecklefish to a strip club, and of course we all try to drink with hecklefish. He lives in water. He lives in liquid. So, I just thought we should do that, but AJ doesn't seem to want to do that. But anyway, now it's possible. We actually could put hecklefish in a car and drive him to Crazy Horse 3. What do you think about this development, Blake? And are you terrified of driving fish?
Yeah, I guess I would be terrified of that. I mean, that is incredibly impressive if that's true. I mean, maybe I'm just under the impression, I thought goldfish only had like a 8-second memory and then they would reset. It's almost like they've got retrograde amnesia. So I didn't know that they could think for that long and do something like that out of instinct or thought or what have you. Or is that a coincidence? I have so many questions, but that did look impressive.
The thing is, we use so little of our brains. We have so much more capacity than we actually use. And you don't need that big a brain to be able to do apparently high level thought. That's pretty amazing stuff. The fish sets a goal and then he goes like he wants to go get fed. So he drives his car to where they can feed him. Brooks or Steven, any thoughts about this?
It doesn't surprise me at all. I mean, our freeways around Charlotte are full of people just like this.
I mean, let's face reality. Snacks are a major motivator.
Yeah, they are a major motivator.
So if you know you're going to get a delicious snack, you're willing to do just about anything to get it.
Yeah, Deb, I had a thought for a bit we could do for the Y-Files where,
What was that you said? If you're going to get a delicious snatch, you what?
No, snack.
Snack.
Oh, snack.
Get your mind out of the gutter, Brooks.
This is Toxically asking Tuesday. Yeah, I thought, well, we'll do a commercial or something, and me and Gino from the Y-Files will go to the strip club with Hecklefish, but not, forgetting that you never try to drink with something that actually lives in liquid and breathes liquid. It's just a bad move, and we would be like passed out drunk. But they haven't gone.
Drive you home.
Well,
Hecklefish can drive everybody home. Right.
Yeah.
This booze has to be it can't be a liquid form. It'll have to be in the form of a tasty treat of some kind, a piece of cracker or something.
Yeah. Hey, Joe Evans, how you doing? Yeah, you put a fish in a drone. Where would he go? That's a good question. That is a good question. All right, guys, that is going to wrap the show up for tonight. Hope you enjoyed it. I will be back tomorrow to get banned again on another edition of Tell the Truth Wednesday with Jen, because Jen and I are so offensive. We're just Jen is just such an evil person. She has to be banned off the internet. What a load of horse shit. By the way, did I say this yet? Fuck YouTube. Fuck YouTube. Congratulations to Sydney Sweeney on giving America what we want.
I've been banned so hard on YouTube, I can't even comment on YouTube's.
Yeah, it's time to get more YouTube accounts then, Brooks. Just make some new emails, make some new YouTube accounts, and get back in their goddamn faces. All right, guys, thank you all for being here. Guess what? The next time we're on the air, we're going to have a new president again. Yeah. And we will talk, I think, exclusively next Tuesday. We're going to talk a lot about what that means, what the last 4 years mean, and whether or not anybody's going to pay for what they put this country through for the last 4 years, because there are a lot of criminals who deserve more than simply going to jail.
It's not revenge, it's justice.
It's justice. Thanks for being here, guys. See you tomorrow. And then Whiskey and Wisdom on Wednesday. And do not forget to go to the Quantum Summit. I will be attending the Quantum Summit. That's the wrong site. The Quantum Summit in March 8th and 9th at Cape Canaveral, Florida, with Mel Carmine and a bunch of cool people. And there will be some, I didn't share it. There will be some people from up the road at Mar-a-Lago. I'm sure in attendance. And I'm going to have a lot to say to them too. So be back next Tuesday. We'll talk about the future. Stay macho, keep your testosterone high, son those boys in the